Hello world, this is Jeffrey, JGB146 Blake, and we've got some fun stuff coming down the line starting today. So, Burning Shadows has been released. That means the meta is completely changing and our decks need to change with it. So, since rotation is only a few weeks away, all of the decks that we build from here forward are going to be post-rotation builds. That means they're not going to feature VS Seeker. In some cases, that might make them a little bit weaker. But we're going to try to focus on the ones that aren't hit very badly first, which means things like Gardevoir and Volcanion are probably going to wait a week or two, but we'll get there. But before that, we're going to kick things off this week with a focus on two decks that are good now and will just get better once other decks are a little bit slower. So the two decks we're going to focus on are, first, a post-rotation build of Buluvolt. This takes into account a lot of the things we discussed with John Roberts II. And then second, a new deck built around Burning Shadows Necrozma. So today we're going to start off with the Necrozma deck. Later this week we'll go over the Buluvolt deck and restart that series, kind of like a season 2. But today, Necrozma. So this is a build that came from my testing partner, Seagrove. He's had a video over it. He hasn't really covered the deck in detail, so we'll do that right now. And then you can look at his channel, see some matches. We're going to have matches here. We'll be refining and kind of testing the deck, refining further over the course of the coming weeks. So it will definitely evolve some, but we're both pretty happy with this list right now. And we're both going to actually be playing it in some tournaments. We're going to feature those on this channel as well. But aside from that, one of the things that I want to build up on this channel is kind of a library of matches against different meta decks. And I want to do that with every deck that we play going forward. I guess the exception to that is decks that I just can't go anywhere with, kind of like what happened with Metagross in the previous format. But definitely with everything that we can, I want to have a library so anyone can come back and say, hey, I want to see how this deck does in this format. I want to know how to win a match between Necro Garb and Drampa Garb or Gardevoir, or so we're gonna try to build that up. But anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dig into this Necro Garb list. Okay, so here are the Pokemon. First, we play 3 copies. It shows 4 down here because that's how many I have, but we play 3 of them. 3 copies of Tapu Koko, the baby Koko, the one that people call promo Koko, which doesn't make sense to me because the Koko GX was also out as a promo. So, but whatever. Baby Koko, we play him entirely for the free retreat and the flying flip attack, spreading 20 damage across the opponent's entire board. Helps out this deck a lot. Now, why does it help this deck out a lot? Well, let's look at some other things we're playing. We're playing 1 copy of Espeon-EX, and we're again playing Espeon-EX exclusively for this first attack, Miraculous Shine. Seen some play in Decidueye decks recently, and that's kind of what we're doing here too. We want to be able to devolve our opponent's evolved Pokemon, and then that can set them back. If they played Rare Candy to evolve something up, well, good luck, because now your Rare Candy's gone. If they, even without that, a lot of the evolutions take huge jumps in HP. So we can spread damage with Tapu Koko and then devolve and just get KOs that way. But we're not done, because Necrozma comes in and really helps out with this battle plan. I should note that Espeon is kind of the mid to late game feature, and whenever possible, we don't even want our opponent to see that we're playing Espeon, because the surprise factor makes it all that much more powerful. Anyway, so Necrozma. This is the new card. We have the ability that we prevent all damage done to Necrozma by colorless Pokemon. So that means Drampa out there, as long as abilities are in effect, he's not doing anything to us. That's pretty cool. Mega Rayquaza is already going to be gone by the time this, we're talking about post-rotation, so Mega Ray will be gone. But in the meantime, this deck destroys Mega Rayquaza. It is phenomenal how that matchup goes. And I'll probably feature some of that just to be able to laugh, just for the lulz. But anyway, so ability, prevent all damage done. That's great. But the other attacks here are good as well. And in fact, I sort of underestimated how good they are. The GX attack is usually the first attack that we'll take with Necrozma. And what it does 100 damage to each Pokemon GX or EX on the field. So right there, if we've done some spreading with Tapu Koko before Necrozma comes out, this can get you follow-up KOs, and you might be done with the game. If not, it puts a lot of damage on all of your opponent's Pokemons. And even if they're playing like a Metagross deck where they have, tons of healing, right? They're still not going to be able to heal everything because they have so many GXs. They've got Lele sometimes. They've got up to 4 Metagrosses. They may have more than one Lele even. So, they can heal some of that away, but some of it's going to stick. And that is enough because from there, hey, you do this, and then you go in with Espeon, you devolve, and now they just lost some Pokemon. Right, we've done some spread damage with Koko. There we go. Lele may be KO'd there. Now, we are playing a copy of Lele, actually 2 copies of Lele in this deck as well, and that's primarily for the Wonder Tag ability of searching out a supporter card, but we do use the Energy Drive attack more than you might expect. So, I guess I didn't talk about the final thing with Necrozma. Necrozma also has this attack, Prismatic Burst. It costs 3 colorless energy, but unless you have some psychic energy in there, it's only doing 10 damage. So you want to have psychic energy as at least part of this attack cost. And what happens, the attack discards all psychic energy. You don't get to choose, unfortunately, but it only discards psychic. So if you have a DCE on there, it's only discarding the psychic additions. And you can add as many psychic on top of that as you want to stack the damage. If you have just 3 on there, we're hitting for 190. That's 220 with the Choice Band, which is pretty good. You're one Koko spread in that, and you're one-shotting a Garbodor GX. If you end up having to go that route at all. But yeah, so we have a powerful attack here that can get us some one-shots even without the GX, but usually we want to do the GX as well to get that spread in there. One last note, Necrozma is Psychic type, so he hits for Psychic weakness, in which case you might want to not discard all the energy. So if you're against a Psychic only deck, you might want to consider including DCE with the attack cost because you're one-shotting Garb if you have a DC and a single Psychic, and you can one-shot Garb over and over and over. 2 Psychics and a DCE, you're getting the one-shot on Espeon, right? I think that's right, because you got 120, 130. Actually, 10, so 70, once DCE, Psychic, Choice Band, you're one-shotting Espeons. So this is kind of the Espeon killer. You might not even have to use your GX attack. That might be the better way to play it. Anyway, so we've got that, right? And that's our primary line of attackers. But we've also got a Trubbish here. I like the energy discard one for the disruption. I don't think discarding a card off our opponent's deck is as good. We play 2 copies of Garbotoxin Garbodor to shut down abilities, really kind of make things difficult for our opponents. And then we do play 1 copy of the Trashalance Garbodor as well, to come in later in the game after you've spread damage with Necrozma, after you've spread some damage with Koko. If you're against basics, usually by that point, Garbodor's going to be doing one-shots. So, one-shots, 1 energy. We all know Garbodor's great, and he's even better if you've already been able to put some damage on your opponent's field. The last Pokemon we play, again, more of the shutting down of abilities, right? More of slowing down your opponent. with Wobbuffet. This has been reprinted in Generations, but that card looks stupid, so I like to play the Phantom Forces version. And so, yeah, we shut down abilities. This can be good for starting out, but since Lele is a psychic Pokemon, it doesn't shut down those abilities. It shuts down abilities like the Vikavolt energy attachment, which can be good in certain cases. If your opponent takes a KO with Tapu Bulu, sending Wob up can shut things down for a little while. And it also, shuts down like Decidueye, shuts down. There's a lot of abilities out there. Helpful, not always the key. But the other thing that is kind of key is the Psychic Assault attack. So this attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon, right? So we've got 10 damage base. That's nothing, right? We might put a choice on there and it's 40 damage base, okay? But you combine that with the spread that we got off of Koko with Necrozma's GX attack, suddenly you're able to follow up KO with a Wobbuffet basically anything, right? Once Wob comes in late game, he's taking kills. Sorry, KOs. We don't kill Pokemon. That would be barbaric, as the Wasi would say. Okay, so seeing the Pokemon give you a good view. What do we have in here to support us? Well, we've got 4 Max Elixirs to try to power up Necrozma really faster. Occasionally we'll use those onto a Lele if we have to, or a Wobbuffet, or maybe even our one Trashlands Garb, but primarily Max Elixirs here for Necrozma. We've got a Super Rod. Most of the time I see the Super Rod actually getting back energy, but occasionally you want to get Pokemon, so it's not quite worth switching it out for an energy recycler. It's just a nice all-around recovery card, and this deck can kind of go either direction. There have been times that I won the game because I super rodded in a Koko and then was able to Ultra Ball, get him, DCE, start spreading damage again, attaching a Choice Band. It worked. I didn't have any other attacker that was going to be able to be set up in one turn. So it can be good for both, any way you want to go. We've got 1 copy of Switch here. We used to have some more cards. We had an escape rope in here at one point. I think that Seagrove's list might still have the escape rope. We also used to have a field blower in here, but it's not really that necessary. By the time we're sending up our attackers that are GXs, Choice Band doesn't make a huge difference. A lot of what we end up doing is off of Pokemon that aren't really hurt by Choice Band. And the field blower, if they have a Garb out there and they shut down abilities, okay, well, what are our abilities? Well, we have this Light's End ability that we'd like to have. So they shut that down, and it means that Necrozma can be KO'd by Drampa. But other than that, by the time they do that, usually we don't need Lele anymore after that. So by the time they've done that, we're probably done with our abilities anyway. Of course, we play 4 Ultra Balls, and then we have a Stadium. Stadium's kind of moved out of favor with a lot of decks, but this deck loves this Stadium. This is Potown. It's a new Burning Shadows Stadium, and what it does is it puts 3 damage counters, 30 damage, on a Pokemon every time it's evolved, right? It doesn't count if it's like a Diancie evolution. That's the only bad thing. But any evolving from hand, 30 damage. So that helps a lot when you're facing evolution decks. So against a Metagross, you get this out there, and that Metagross is going to have 60 damage on it just by evolving up, without you spreading anything. One or two more spreads, and your Espeon is taking those KOs. If the rare candy, again, 1 spread, 2 spreads, and you're golden. So that is it's clutch. So that's our items and stadiums. I guess I can cover tools too, right? We've got 2 choice bands just to increase the damage, and 4 float stones. We want to be able to retreat and mix around our Pokemon. You know, if we have Wob in the active, we want to be able to retreat, and we want to be able to shut down abilities and make our matchups better that way. Supporters, we play 1 copy of Brigette because Lele's in the format and we have more than 1 Pokemon. We play 3 copies of Guzma just to be able to switch things around and of course target who we want on our opponent's bench. We play 2 copies, it says 3 there, but we're only playing 2 in this deck, of Lillie. 3 copies of In. Again, this is a difference between my list and Seagrove's list. He plays 4. Not quite sure which way we're going to go on that yet. 4 copies of Sycamore, 4 DCs, and 9 Psychic Energies. We want to have a high Psychic Energy count. We want the Max Elixirs to hit, and we want to get, we want a Psychic on Garb. We want 3 Psychics on Necrozma. We want to be able to get some more Psychic Energy on Necrozma after that. We need a Psychic on Wob. So yeah, that's it. That's the list. Like I say, I know it's going to evolve. I know things are going to change, but it's been doing pretty well. I've seen just below a 70% win rate with it so far, and that's while I'm still learning the deck. It has a lot of different avenues to take between Necrozma, the Devolution line, the double your damage line, the Trash Lance line. There's a lot of different options to take, so finding the best one can be a little tough. So I'm pretty happy that I'm already getting 70%. With that, we'll go ahead, we'll wrap things up, and there will be another video later today highlighting a match. Don't know what it'll be yet though. In the meantime, if you like this video, if you're interested in this list, please hit like down below, hit subscribe, help get some more visibility for myself and Seagrove. We're going to be doing some stuff back and forth in the coming months, and we want everybody to benefit. And with that, goodbye.